Welcome back to my YouTube channel for yet another episode to help you on your personal growth and healing journey to living and manifesting your most abundant life yet. Today we're going to dive into a little bit of an insight of how you can use the 8-8 portal to really supercharge your manifestations, and then also a little bit of a collective message for August and what energies to focus on for this most potent month ever. Now, before we get started, I want us to set our intention. If you're new here, this is something we do before every single YouTube video. Before we dive into an episode, we just take a second to set our intention. If you're already done this and you've been here around the block, then you know this all too well. So just take a few seconds and close your eyes, taking a deep breath in and release, and just allow yourself to be here now. Deep breath in and release. And just setting your intention, whatever it may be, whatever called you to this episode. And then when you're ready, meeting me back into the room. Now, intention is one of the most important things you can focus on because it fuels your momentum. So when you have an intention behind something, that's when you will actually start to experience radical shifts and also results a lot quicker, because you're actually able to direct your energy. When we know what our intention is and what we want to bring and receive from a space, it's also easier for us to set out that frequency to the universe and be like, hey, this is what I want to get out of this time right here. And this is probably your intention that you've set for the episode. This is what you want to get out of this episode. And so it shall be, and you'll get the most that you can out of it. So intention is absolutely important in your entire manifesting journey to be able to ensure that you always get and make the most of every single moment. So with that, let's dive in. So the Lionsgate portal is activated by the Rising of the Star series. And what's fascinating is that the Egyptians actually used the rising of the star to calculate when the flooding of the Nile would be, because this would signify an incredible time for wealth, prosperity, and abundance. The Sirius rising begins at the end of July and takes place up until the middle of August, and obviously peaks on the 8th of August, which is why the 8-8 Lionsgate portal exists. Now, 8-8 is also an incredible numerology for manifestation and really allows you to step into a higher vibration of prosperity and abundance. So why is this day even important for you to know in the first place? Well, the 8-8 portal obviously supercharges your manifestations. There's heightened energy, and we find that obviously because this is a long celebrated astrological alignment of wealth, prosperity, and abundance, it's also an incredible time for you to shift your intention and your focus and your energy towards wealth, prosperity, and abundance in your life right now. Now, thinking of wealth and prosperity and abundance, we usually associate this with money, but I want you to go a little bit further than that and just move beyond the money for a second. Yes, that is incredible, and we want to focus on bringing more money into our lives. But what's even more potent, and this is really the little nugget that you want to master behind manifesting more abundance into your life, and especially when it comes to money, is realizing that there's an emotion behind the money that you would like to feel. And abundance actually filtrates into every single area of our lives. It filtrates into feeling abundant in your health. It filtrates into feeling abundant in your peace of mind, feeling abundant in your relationship, just being able to feel like, oh, I've got everything there that I need. Abundance is really the state of overflow. So I want you to think for a second, because this is the easiest way that we can actually connect into it. If you think about abundance and you specifically think of an abundance of money and you tapped into what that would look like for you. So take a second and close your eyes and just visualize this most abundant version of yourself, and you see a lot of financial wealth. Now, I want you to really focus on your emotions for this second and imagine dialing them up a notch. And I'll really tune into seeing, like, what is the emotion that is coming up for me right now? Perhaps it's intense happiness. Perhaps it's a feeling of ecstasy. Perhaps it's a feeling of just absolute freedom, joy, inner peace. It'll be absolutely unique to you, and that will be absolutely perfect. Now, once you have that feeling, I want you to open your eyes and meet me back in the room. And now realize that this is the feeling that you actually want to anchor in, that is not only going to attract so much more financial wealth into your life, but and also it's going to dial up the abundance in every other area of your life as well. So let's say for perhaps you felt an immense feeling of just like ecstasy. That's a feeling that came up for me in one of my own kinesiology sessions. Is I just love to connect to this feeling of absolute bliss and just this state of like overflow and just love for the universe and all things that are. And I was like, okay, amazing. If I could tap into this, that wonderful feeling of ecstasy, what would that feel like in my marriage? What would that feel like in, you know, my relationship with my home and how I actually like spend time in my garden? What would that feeling of just excitement and love and overflow and just having so much fun, like what would that feel like in my health journey and when I go to the gym? What would that feel like in my business? How would I show up differently? So I want you to think of that feeling and now start to look at different areas of your life and start to ask yourself these 3 really potent questions. The first question you want to ask yourself is, who is that version of me that already has this emotion in every single area of her life? Who is that version of me that experiences ecstasy in every single area of her life? How does she show up? How does she show up for her business? How does she show up in her relationships? How does she show up for herself and for her life? Like really thinking about who is that main character and how does she show up for what it is that she desires right now. So now that you've actually got an idea of who that version of you is, now remember, like when we connect this back to quantum physics and quantum manifestation, every single version of you already exists. So the fact that you were able to kind of paint a picture for yourself, I even love using Pinterest boards for this because I'm a very visual person. But when you're able to paint a picture for yourself about who is this version of me that already has this big dream manifested, then you're able to know that that actually already exists. And it's now just up to you to calibrate your frequency to that version of you to bring that timeline into your reality, to make that probability a reality for you right now. So the second question you then want to ask yourself is like, okay, now that I know and I have an idea of who this version of me is, how does she think, feel, and act? So for one, you'd know, okay, well, in my instance, like that version of me feels a lot of ecstasy for life. Like it is just this absolute joy and love for life. How would she feel on a daily basis? To me, immediately the emotions that come to mind is content. She would feel grounded. She would allow herself to feel free. She would also feel really confident and certain in herself and really trust herself. Like those are things that hit really close and home to me. So think about what are the other emotions that version of you would feel. Now go a step deeper and ask yourself, what are the thoughts that she would be thinking? What would be her like her predominant narrative that's running in her mind? For myself, for example, one of the thoughts that come up for me is that I have all the resources I need right now to be successful, both within and without. And that's a really like anchored in belief. So now whenever I show up, I know that I show up knowing that I have everything inside of me to make this big dream happen. And then the other part of this question is you want to ask yourself, what are the actions that I have to start taking? And this is incredibly important because this is where aligned action comes from. This is where inspired action comes from. Once your thoughts actually align with your emotions, you'll naturally be inspired to actually take action in the right direction, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. So first, make sure that you really align your thoughts, tune into those emotions and start asking yourself, how can I feel these emotions on a day-to-day basis? And then you'll naturally start taking aligned action towards those goals. Now, the third question you then want to ask yourself is, what do I have to have in place in order for this big dream to manifest, in order for me to feel this predominant emotion within every area of my life and call more abundance in? Now, when we look at things that we have to have in place, these are the foundations that we know we need and the little niggles that you keep getting that you know you have to do to tend to your garden to be able to hold space for what it is that you want to manifest. Because remember, you will you will always receive what you're ready to hold space for. So we always want to tend to our garden to make sure that we are actually able to hold space for the thing that we want to manifest. So if you think about the theme of the 8-8 portal, it's really about manifesting more abundance, and it's really about stepping into that energy of wealth and just like overflow. It feels so abundant. So start to think, what are the things that I need to have in place in order to actually allow this dream, this manifestation to just drop into my reality effortlessly. If it's in your business, it may be having certain structures in place. Like perhaps you know that you have to start marketing on certain social media platforms that you're being called to. Like if you know that you love writing, maybe you've been called to do blogging, but you keep putting that off. Or you absolutely love just creating content, but you keep denying yourself from being a content creator. And you're like, I need to get that in place. Or maybe there's other things in your business that you just know you have to start doing and getting in place because you keep getting that nudge and vision to do so. But then also you can look at the flip side, like maybe it's in your relationship and you want to manifest more abundance and love. Then start looking at what are the things that I need to start putting in place in order to make this happen. Like how are you showing up for yourself? How are you loving yourself right now? What is your like view on relationships? But then also, do you have the time for a relationship? Are you actually intentionally creating a life where you know you can actually share this with a partner? Or are you still living very selfishly? So it's important to look at, like, do I actually have everything in place that I need right now in order for this manifestation to drop in? Now, in order to be able to do this, it really requires you to drop into your heart and deeply trust your intuition. And I have an incredible free guide, my loves, called Heartled. It's an ebook plus a 7-day activation series that really shows you how and teaches you how you can actually trust yourself more, connect to your intuition, and become really confident in taking the road less traveled and listening to your own freaking gut. So I've linked that up below for you to download. It is such a goodie. So let's tune into the collective message for the 8-8 portal, which is so juicy. So as we know that, wow, 2023 has been an insane year so far. You've all been probably feeling like you've been going through immense spiritual, like just deaths, letting things go, stepping into new just energies, and you're like, holy shit, the person I was beginning of the year compared to who I am now is like two completely different people. If that is you, I feel you. So with that being said, we know that 2023 has numerology of 7, and it's all about just coming back to our truth. So this is really a very spiritual year of coming back to who are you at your core, and where are the lower hanging fruits that you need to completely just like let go of and tend to your garden. So the first thing that comes up for me as I just connect with my guides, and before we do so, we're just calling in all angels, guides, helpers from the highest realm to come. And you can call on your guides too. I'm just drawing up a beautiful golden circle with white energy light for protection for this channeled message. So such a beautiful message for the 8-8 portal. Wowie. This is really a period, and this is such an incredible message coming through from my guides, is that this is really a period for you to step into a lot of just confidence and trust and knowing that you are on the right path. A lot of us have been going through immense change this year that has been unexplainable in the best sense. And very much so, it's also led us to feeling like not only is the carpet kind of being ripped underneath our feet, but as much as all this change has been happening, it's either actually left you right now feeling very grounded, more peaceful, or even just able to be like, wow, it feels like I'm coming home to myself. So even though there's a sense of there's a lot of things changing at the moment, there is this strange like internal knowing and just a feeling of like the familiar that feels comforting, that you kind of know you're on the right track, even though you're like, I didn't even know this track existed in the beginning of the year. So with that being said, as you're stepping into this new chapter, I'm going to see from my healing cards. I absolutely love this. This is my mystical healing deck. It is so gorgeous. And just see what pops out here as just what are some of the healing energies. There we go. Healing energies that we need to focus on. These are so potent. The first one is unlock your heart. So it's so important to come back to a feeling of love. And then the second one is to love your body. How insane is this, to love your body? And it's so beautiful. As these two cards came out, my guides are like, it's so important for us to learn that it is safe. Like, it is so, so safe. At the primal, most basic level, the only thing that your mind cares about, that your soul and your body cares about, is safety right now, especially your 3D self. Like, your entire being just wants to keep you safe. So at any time when we try and create change, there is this certain feeling of just this hindrance of it is no longer safe. Change to your mind indicates it is no longer safe. But yet here you are, and you want to change your entire life. You want to up-level. You want to experience this incredible abundance and overflow. You want to experience freedom. But you know that this path that you're headed on is not where you came from. It's probably not how you grew up. It's not how you've been living most of your life. So even though this change in direction feels so familiar, and you're like, I'm coming home to myself, and I also feel, strangely enough, the happiest I've ever been, it's also part and parcel this feeling of, well, I've never been here before, and this is overwhelming, and how do I navigate this? And it may sometimes feel like you're in this push and pull of wanting to be this higher self version of you, but then being pulled back into like knee-jerk reactions, and being pulled back into like old ways of being that don't really serve you to the greatest sense. So if that's you right now, then this channeled message is so divine and collectively for you. And it's to really know that to supercharge your manifestations, everything you want is on its way to you. You're on the right path. That's the first thing that's important to know. You're on the right path. You're divinely guided and protected. But, and also, it's important for you to come back to your love, come back to your intention, come back to why you started the shift in the first place. Like, my guides are even saying the pivot, like why you started this pivot in the first place, and then anchor into your body, come back to the present moment. Because whenever we feel unsafe, the first thing that we usually do is we dissociate. Because we're like, it is not safe for me to be here. So we dissociate from our body, we dissociate from the present moment. And we're either perpetually living in the past, or we're just so concerned over the future that we try and control so much for it that we just bypass the present moment altogether. It is safe for you to live in the present moment. You do not have to run in this journey. It is safe, it is safe, it is safe. Oh, I've got goosebumps. What an incredible channeled message. And this channeled message is actually so divine with the 8-8 portal, because it's just telling us that as much as we want to manifest this incredible abundance and overflow in our lives, it's also important to come back to safety and realize that being in the present moment, taking all of life in, allowing oneself to experience the fullness of it all is really where the potency lies. So my loves, for this 8-8 portal, and the most beautiful, what is today? Today's a Tuesday, the most beautiful Tuesday of 2023. Just allow yourself to be present within this day. Take it all in. Anchor in your love and gratitude for all the blessings around you. And really look at how you can tap into whatever emotion came through for you in the beginning of our practice of this episode. Whatever emotion came up for you right now that signifies that abundance and wealth in all areas of your life. Happy manifesting, and see how you can tap into that even more. Cannot wait to catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.